The deadliest fire in over a decade occurred around 2:45 this morning in San Pedro. 4 persons perished in the blaze. Clara Bacab, 2 of her children, 14-year-old Alan Nunes and 6-year-old Mia Nunes, as well as her niece, 16-year-old Shirley Bacab, were all trapped inside the upper flat of a wooden and concrete house in the Escalante subdivision of the island. News 5 understands that Shirley had just recently relocated to the island and has been living with the family for about a month. Residents converged in the area where the unthinkable happened, and after 11 this morning witnessed as the 4 remains placed in body bags were removed from the rubble and whisked away in the rear of a police mobile. The police say they were informed of the inferno 30 minutes later and phoned in to the fire service personnel on the island.
Around 3:15, thereabout, police was called out to the area of Escalante in San Pedro town. We received information of a house fire. Upon police making checks in the area, they noticed one building engulfed in fire and another almost engulfed as well. Police then called the fire department, and they proceeded to the area of Escalante, where they start to operate to extinguish the fire in the area.
At approximately 3:30 a.m., the San Pedro branch of the National Fire Service had received and responded to reports of a structural fire in the Escalante subdivision area of San Pedro town. We had 2 units dispatched to that location. On arrival on scene, found were 2 structures engulfed in flames. During the overhaul phase of the operation, we came across or discovered 4 bodies that were said to be missing earlier.
3 buildings had damages, fire damages. We know that the main building and another house that was beside it was totally engulfed in flame. Everything was destroyed. Some of the persons managed to escape unhurt. We have 2 persons who have injuries, burn injuries, and other injuries, and 4 persons lost their life here today.
Bacab's husband, David Nunes, and their 16-year-old son, Samir Nunes, narrowly escaped the deadly fire, but suffering various degrees of burns and smoke inhalation. They were airlifted to the KHMH.
One, the doctor has classified his injuries as wounding, and one has 3rd-degree burns and is critical. He has been both persons have been flown out to Belize City, and it's at KHMH hospital.
Sir, when you guys got here, there was absolutely no opportunity to try and get out the remaining people?
Some persons had already been evacuated. Persons were evacuated from the lower flat of the building and the neighboring building. You can see the main structure, that was the one that people couldn't get out, because then the steps were burnt. It had wooden steps.
Luigi Chable, his wife, and their 2 children lived in one of the 2 apartments in the lower flat of the structure for the past 2 years. 2 others lived across from them. While all 6 managed to escape unhurt, they lost everything in the inferno.
I left at 2 in the morning. 45 minutes after, my wife gave me a call that the house on the top is on fire. So I left work, and when I reached to the house, the top part was already burned. Only my wife and the other guys that rent up beside us were the ones that could come out of the apartment, and the bigger son of the lady and her husband. The other rest stayed in the house. They didn't manage to come out.
So they were trapped inside?
Yeah, like 4 of them got trapped, and unfortunately they died inside.
An adjacent wooden house occupied by a mute couple was also gutted by the blaze. That house was dangerously close to the home of Antonia Guerrero, who says that she was awakened by the crackling sound coming from outside of her house.
When I get to hear like popcorn, I just get up and I start to smell smoke. And my baby says, Tia, what is this? Something is happening. And when I open the window, I only see the window. Everything was orange. and I see orange, and I start to smell smoke. I tell her not to move, and I just pack up my passport and fishy passport, and I come out. When I come out, I only see the big house, Mr. David house in a fire. Then I say, well, stay here and not move, because I bring the baby where. And then I gone back, because my nephew is mute, right? And her wife is the same. So when I reach by the step, I see them of the door open and then come out. And I tell him, he may want to go back, and I tell him, no, come on.
Soon after, a bucket brigade got into action using water from a nearby well to prevent other structures from catching fire. There is speculation on what could have caused the fire. Residents on the ground today say that the blaze may have started from a golf cart that was left charging overnight. Tenant Luigi Chables does not believe that the golf cart started the fire, and up to late this evening, firefighters were processing the scene to determine the official cause.
They say that there was a spark on their golf cart because the golf carts are electric. So they say there was a spark. Some other people are estimating that there was gunshots. So I can't really know, but what I get to know from my wife is that when she opened the door from the living room, the rooftop was on fire. So she said all the veranda was on fire and the golf carts were not burned.
Some are saying that the golf cart was involved. Of course, I cannot confirm or deny that. Still waiting the outcome of the actual investigation.
Duane, Moody for News 5.